The Simpsons is a comedy satirizing our world for laughter, alleviating the seriousness of it all. But strip back the jokes and there's without a doubt some real tragedies in Springfield. The guy desperately trying to make it but fails at all pursuits, the drunk, and the lonely barman who considers ending it all on the daily. The list goes on and on. Such is the case of the crazy cat lady, often used as comic relief or a crude portrayal of a mentally deranged spinster. But this character's backstory is a lot more tragic than you think.
People say she's crazy just because she has a few dozen cats. But can anyone who loves animals that much really be crazy?
The crazy cat lady's real name is actually Eleanor Abernathy, making her first appearance in season 9's Girly Edition. But her backstory wasn't explored until season 18's Springfield Up, during the episode's documentary focusing on the lives of Springfield and their growth over the years. Now, there is a rumor that Eleanor is Ned's grandmother, as seen in Lisa's first word, but even though their character designs are relatively similar and both relatively loopy,
Hello, Joe!
we know that Ned's nana is called Winifred Elizabeth Bessie Flanders, so sorry Redditors. No, instead Eleanor Abernathy is around the same age as Homer and Marge, who also attended Springfield Elementary. In Springfield Up, she's pretty much shown as the Lisa Simpson of her age. She's bookish, ambitious, and has deep-rooted ethical views too. Considering her age and the time this was set, you could say that she was pioneering forward-thinking thoughts in the culturally backwoods town. For instance, Marge Simpson showed ambition and talents for journalism and art, but they dissolved when she chose family life. Yeah, of course, there are stories when she tries to pursue these interests again, but she always returns to the patriarchal mother. Her resentment of this is hinted at several times in the show, but even still, she does turn out a lot better than poor Eleanor. So what do I know? By comparison, at the age of 16, Eleanor was already studying in the Ivy League schools, dedicating 7 years of her life to the grueling school system. By 24, she graduated with degrees from both Harvard Medical School and Yale Law School. Serving the public as both an attorney and as a doctor, Eleanor seemed like your regular Lisa Lionheart.
Trust in yourself and you can achieve anything.
But when the documentary revisited her on her 32nd birthday, Eleanor had become burnt out from her ambitious pressures. Retreating to her apartment and adopting a cat named Buster, she also turned to alcohol to soothe her darkening reality. Growing increasingly entwined with both cats and liquor, it was only 8 years later that Eleanor lost everything. The great Ivy League graduate, now only capable of communicating through outbursts of gibberish and the throwing of felines.
Ow, 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 nice kitty, ow!
It was by this point she became more commonly known as the Crazy Cat Lady, with no mention of her accomplishments. It seems that amongst all those hours of her nose buried in books, she'd failed to make any real friends, and so no one was there to witness her fall from grace, and her mental instability was her only identity in town. Her tragedy is only amplified when we are given an occasional peek into her brilliance, such as her impressive singing voice in season 28's Monty Burns Fleeing Circus. As well as the time she ran for mayor and spoke on topics like small business incentives and corporate accountability, showing that her ambition, intelligence, and compassion for the public is still there, even though largely hidden. We've also seen some glimmers of emotion from her besides neurotic anger towards Lisa Simpson, such as when she gave Lisa a cat that looked exactly like Snowball too, because she could see that the little girl was mourning, so she did what she could, even if it came across as slightly aggressive. This could be hinting at the fact that there are some links between these two characters, but we'll dive into that a bit later on in the video. In season 22's A Midsummer's Night Dream, Marge attempted to help Eleanor overcome her hoarding tendencies and help her regain a sense of former self.
Thank you for clearing the clutter from my house and my mind.
But in a bid to break Marge's own newfound obsession with hoarding, Homer is forced to reunite Eleanor with the neurosis she just overcame, which is really rather tragic. Once again reduced to a shadow of a person with absolutely no aid and no friend in the world. With her full story now exposed, you could say that her story may be seen as the ultimate worst case scenario for Lisa. There's no denying that there's some parallels between the two. Bright young women wanting to challenge the world, putting education before friendships or a personal life. Lisa has even committed her life to academia to the point of obsession. Oh yeah, and she loves a cat too. We also know in Lisa's future, from examining her complete timelines in my past videos, that she may have attended 2 Ivy League schools too. While the future episodes of The Simpsons suggest Lisa doesn't befall the same fate but rises through the ranks to public office, it's still a harrowing and tragic reminder of how someone so bright can come crashing back down to earth. The only saving grace is that Lisa Simpson is growing up in a world more accepting of female ambition. She has made some amazing statements and done some incredible acts to test and develop the quote-unquote backwards town, as well as having the people around her to support her through life's trials and tribulations. Something unfortunately Eleanor never had. Eleanor collapsing underneath the pressures of work and expectations is something I, and I'm sure you guys, can relate to. Working to get a job, into college, and then the non-stop grind that only gets overloaded with bills, relationships, and the need to always be bettering yourself and comparing yourself to others. For me personally, it's the pressure of working for myself now and making sure I stay afloat. I love what I'm doing, but I want to keep it going. But it's just so easy to drown under the weight of expectation and overworking to burnout. I sincerely hope that you and I and everyone else are doing alright, and we know when to take a break to look after ourselves, because at the end of the day, we deserve it. Although she's largely played for laughs, the crazy cat lady is without a doubt a victim and tragic character, and I sincerely hope she gets some kind of happy ending in the future. By the way, unfortunately the YouTube algorithm doesn't really like me doing these deeper character studies, so please help me beat that by tapping that like button down there really quickly. Thank you so much, and I'll smell you later.